Breaking today, Prince Harry did get into a physical fight with his uncle Prince Andrew, and the pair of royal spares did row over Prince Andrew's warning regarding Meghan Markle. That is the response from the author of the bombshell new bestseller entitled The Rise and Fall of the House of York to Prince Harry's threat to sue. And Andrew Lownie, the man behind this bombshell new book, which has sent shockwaves through the British royal family, joins me here on Outspoken alongside our very own royal YouTube sensation, according to Taz. Okay, let me take you through this story in case you have missed it. Although that's probably pretty unlikely, because here was the front page of the Daily Mail earlier this week. Prince Andrew, his royal oafishness, sex-obsessed, vulgar, vile bedroom habits, and a Meghan bullying bombshell, all exposed in devastating book royals tried to ban. And then you'll see why Harry left him with a bloody nose. Now, this was an extraordinary encounter in 2013. But what was probably most fascinating is that Harry, a man who, by the way, never questioned that very odd-looking Michael Jackson wannabe Omid Scobie when he decided to reveal to the world that King Charles and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, were so-called racists, never ever denied that. But when it came to these allegations, he did release a statement to his favourite US tabloid People. Prince Harry denies physical fight with Prince Andrew and comments made about Meghan Markle in the explosive new book, with a spokesperson for the Duke of Sussex telling the magazine, "I can confirm neither of those things are true. Prince Harry and Prince Andrew have never had a physical fight, nor did Prince Andrew ever make those comments about the Duchess of Sussex to Prince Harry." But Andrew Lownie says, not too fast. He isn't at all worried about this new legal threat. And I'll just take you through some of the, I guess, most shocking allegations in the book itself, which is available now. In January 2021, Andrew Lownie writes, the royal family held a summit about Andrew, at which it was agreed there was no way back for him because of the reputational damage he was causing the monarchy and his, quote, ungracious and ungrateful attitude. Andrew's relationship with his nephews was also a problem. At a family gathering in 2013, Harry and Andrew had got into a heated argument and punches were thrown over something Andrew said behind Harry's back. According to a source close to both men, Harry told him he was a coward not to say it to his face. Harry got the better of Andrew by all accounts, leaving him with a bloody nose before the fight was broken up. Later, Andrew told Harry his marriage to Meghan Markle would not last more than a month and accused his nephew of going bonkers and not doing any due diligence into her past. He openly accused Meghan of being an opportunist and thought she was too old for Harry, adding that his nephew was making the biggest mistake ever. The source said Harry later told William he hated Andrew. According to the same source, the Duke's relationship with William is not much better. There have been tensions between the two men for years, partly occasioned by Andrew being rude about Kate. William refers to Andy as a, what was this word again? It starred out in the Daily Mail. Tosser! Daily Mail says you can't say tosser. Okay, well, I'll say tosser. Perhaps not as bad as the vile names his brother Harry uses. Harry has been referred to Andy as a poofter, an asshole, and a twit. William has long worked behind the scenes to evict his uncle from Royal Lodge, the home he occupies in Windsor Park. He thinks Andrew is abusing the property and his privilege there. The source says he also loathes Sarah, Andrew's ex-wife, and can't wait for the day when his father throws them both out. If Charles doesn't, I guarantee you the first thing William does when he becomes king is to get evicted. Wow. Absolute bombshell stuff, but certainly in some ways not a surprise. And Andrew, of course, is here with me alongside Tash today. Andrew, firstly, congratulations on the book. It is a bestseller. It has caused shockwaves all across the world, and it has also prompted this extraordinary on-the-record denial from Prince Harry. But you stand by your reporting. You've obviously spoken to well over 300 of the Duke of York's former friends, current friends, former classmates, staff members, courtiers, the full works. This is thoroughly researched. But can you just take us inside this altercation in 2013 and tell us exactly what you know about it? Big news. Outspoken is now available as a podcast too. So please do subscribe wherever you get yours, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and make sure you rate and review. I'll take 5 stars, if you may.
Well, I mean, I'm surprised by the reaction. I mean, this was a paragraph that was just popped into the book, and none of us thought that would get this sort of reaction. But my source is very good and reliable. I mean, I trust them. And that's why I've been very happy to double down on it. I mean, this is just an attempt to intimidate me. You know, as in that well-known phrase, recollections may vary. And let's see, I'm very happy if he wants to pursue this action.
So you would feel confident in a court of law where you would be able to present evidence, presumably?
Well, I mean, the problem, you know, clearly writing about royal books is, and particularly with the source who comes from the royal household, it's going to be quite difficult. But yes, I'm pretty confident if it goes that far.
It feels like an empty threat to me. Is that how you feel?
Absolutely. The lawyers have marked it 2 out of 10.
Because we did, of course, hear from Valentine Lowe last week that there were lots of threats to him before publication in regards to the Meghan Markle bullying allegation, but then post-publication, crickets, not a word, absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I've had lawyers' letters from the Duchess's lawyers even before the book was published, saying that they were warning me that they were watching my social media closely. I mean, that came months ago. So this is just an attempt to scare people, and I'm afraid it's not going to work.
Tash, when you look at Prince Harry's background, and I want to come to this in just one moment, I mean, everything about this story of him giving Prince Andrew a bloody nose, to me, rings true. I mean, this is a guy who has admitted himself huge violence towards bodyguards, security guards, people trying to look after him, who's admitted that he got into a physical fight with Prince William too. Do you believe it?
I do believe it. Harry has been hot-headed. I believe it was a former nanny that once spoke to a publication, I can't remember which one it was, but said that Harry was angry from birth. He's always had a hot temper on him. We've seen him fight with photographers. We've seen him try and fight with people outside of nightclubs in his youth, or rather he was being held back by his bodyguards. It always reminds me of the cartoons of let me at him, but he knows that he is obviously heavily protected. So the thought of Harry getting into an argument that quickly turned into fisticuffs with his uncle, it doesn't surprise me at all. And yes, I do believe it. Harry is, and he always will be, quick to temper. And obviously violence and fighting is not necessarily something he takes a step back for a moment. He does seem to get quite aggressive fairly quickly, but then he's always had the protection of his bodyguards around him.
Well, indeed. And some video re-emerged this week. And by the way, Andrew, if you do end up in court with Prince Harry, I think this could be very helpful to you circumstantially, at least. Tash, you pointed this out, actually, because it was the video in the Foo Fighters drummer, late, great Taylor Hawkins, remembered the time Prince Harry assaulted him. And you wrote on this, Tash, Harry has always been a nasty piece of work. He slapped Taylor around the face, knowing that his security would let him get away with it and block any retaliation. Harry's been protected his whole life. That's why he's not a nice man. How many other stories have been buried? And look, I do remember covering this interview at the time, but watching it again in light of the revelations in Andrew's book was even more chilling. So I'll get both of your reaction, but first let's just take a watch of what Taylor Hawkins revealed.
Are you hanging with Prince Harry? What is that like?
We have hung out with him before.
Really? And what do you guys do?
Taylor in the face one time. How hard was that smack in the face?
Pissed me off, actually.
Why, you didn't bow to him or something? What happened? You didn't bow?
We literally were doing something similar to this, but not similar to this. We were playing somewhere in England, and we had just flown over, and like literally had like 2 hours sleep, and we were doing a show in some ambassador's backyard or something. And he walked in, and Harry, and a bunch of his people around him, and he goes, "How you doing?" And I'm like, "I can't wake up. So tired. I gotta play. I can't wake up." He just goes, "Bam!"
What the?
And I went, "You mother." And then it's like two guys are like right there, and he's like, "You awake now?" or something like that. I'm like, "Yeah."
I mean, Tash, it is astonishing because Taylor Hawkins wasn't joking about that. It was very obviously assault. So Prince Harry is a physically violent man.
Yeah, I mean, to see that come up, Meghan's mole reshared it, and it's just shocking to hear this sort of behavior. This is a stranger that he's met, but someone who's famous. So can you imagine what Harry's been like behind the scenes for members of the public, people that maybe will never have a voice? How much stuff has actually been covered up? But then for him to be fighting Andrew, there was the thought of it at first when it came out. I think Shauna said it, that it was a bit of positive PR for Harry for a change, the thought of him punching Andrew in the face, because of obviously everything that Andrew's done. And they seem to be very much cut from the same cloth. I mean, you wouldn't really be rooting in a fight for either one of them. But yes, I mean, it does show that Harry is hot-headed, but I wonder which one of them really, whether Andrew got a few punches himself, really.
I mean, Andrew, sort of examples like that won't help Prince Harry's cause, will they?
No, I mean, there's a long history of violence against people, well documented. And of course, there's a long history of him suing the Daily Mail. It's not just Collins and me, it's the Daily Mail for carrying the Cyril. So certainly my lawyers don't seem worried at all. As Tasha said, I mean, there's no case of defamation to saying that you whacked Andrew. I mean, most of the comments on social media have been pretty positive. It's one of the few positive comments he's had recently.
Well, indeed. And weirdly, I felt this way about Andrew when it came to his conversation with Prince Harry, where he told the truth about Meghan. Because, I mean, look, you can look at this in a couple of ways, can't you, Andrew? But at the end of the day, a lot of members of the royal family were speaking behind Prince Harry's back about what a disaster Meghan Markle was going to be. And for all of his faults, and obviously there are many of them, and we will come to them, and yes, he has oafishness in large degree, probably during this conversation too. But isn't what Prince Andrew actually warned Harry about Meghan Markle correct? He hadn't done any due diligence into her past. She was an opportunist. I mean, the age thing, I don't necessarily agree with him on, but the fact is, I mean, very few people within the royal family, Andrew, would disagree with Prince Andrew that marrying Meghan was the biggest mistake Prince Harry ever made. So weirdly, I actually felt reading this part of the book, I was like, well, no, Andrew, you did the right thing here.
Well, I mean, in 2017, I was researching my book on the Mountbattens, and I spent a lot of time with people in royal circles, and they were very concerned, even at that stage, about Meghan Markle and her suitability. So it wouldn't surprise me that Andrew made these comments. He can be quite bossy, and he was tempted to be rather paternalistic, but because he's has a very direct manner, it could be misinterpreted. So, it all rings true to me. I mean, my source is as I say, has proved reliable on every other thing. The level of detail is pretty good that I got. And as I say, I'm not worried, and the lawyers are not worried.
No, and I mean, Tash, I think on Meghan, Andrew was correct. But first, let's be honest, what passes for journalism today is little more than politically charged activism with a headline slapped on top. Truth gets buried under layers of spin, agenda, and algorithm-driven narratives. That's why I turn to Ground News. It cuts straight through the noise and shows you exactly what's happening. Ground News brings together headlines from over 50,000 sources across the globe, but what really makes it powerful is the transparency. You don't just see the stories, you see the political bias behind every source, the ownership ties, and the coverage breakdown across the spectrum. That's why over 1 million people have downloaded Ground News. Even the Nobel Peace Center praised it as an excellent way to stay informed, avoid echo chambers, and expand your worldview. See for yourself at ground.news/outspoken. My favourite feature is the blind spot feed. It shows you which stories are blowing up on one side of the aisle, but barely mentioned on the other. It's the clearest way to see media bias in action. So here's an example of a story barely getting any traction on the right. Joe Rogan just accused the Trump administration of gaslighting its own supporters over the Epstein scandal. It's a rare moment of someone considered to be on the right openly calling out Trump's team in such blunt terms. And here's one the left is completely ignoring. Reports say Kash Patel discovered burn bags stuffed with classified documents tied to the Trump-Russia probe. In other words, there may have been a deliberate effort to destroy evidence, yet almost no one on the left wants to touch it. I wonder why. With every story, Ground News shows you the entire spectrum of who's reporting from left, right, and centre, and how reliable each source is. Also, importantly, who owns each outlet? It's everything the corporate press doesn't want you to see or know. And right now, you can get 40% off the Vantage plan, which gives you unlimited access to all the features I personally use for just $5 per month. Just visit ground.news/outspoken, click the link in the description, or scan the QR code on screen. That's ground.news/outspoken. But now, back to the show.
Yes, I mean, there's a lot to be said. I think that Meghan's arrival into the royal family has been anything other than completely destructive and toxic. There were lots of people that tried to warn Harry, including childhood friends, and they since found themselves completely cut off. Tom Inskip, I mean, they were the bestest of friends. They were, always in some sort of trouble or partying together throughout their lives. They always had each other's backs. And then they were rudely not invited to the evening reception of the wedding because he dared to say, perhaps you should slow down. We know that Harry has fallen out with many people. So the fact that Andrew was that direct, I don't think he did anything wrong there. But I wouldn't be surprised. Andrew was going around with a black eye, I think, at one point, wasn't he, in 2017? Perhaps Harry decided to clock him one again.
Well, I can tell you the story on that if you want.
Please.
In 2017, really? That was from a businessman to whom he owed some money.
Oh dear. Really? Gave him a black eye? Oh dear.
So you can lay that one to rest.
And Andrew, what's your reading on William in regards to Royal Lodge? Because some people within the royal family have described it as the siege of Royal Lodge. Andrew just completely not prepared to give it up. Now, for my reporting over many years, have spoken to people close to Prince Andrew who say that's true. He has absolutely no intention to give it up. He doesn't believe that he should be forced to move into Frogmore Cottage because, he has the lease. But is there still this move from Prince William to get him out, or has he almost accepted now? Because we had the reports a couple of weeks ago that William is actually looking at a different property now within Windsor. Has he almost accepted the fact that, okay, he probably can't get Andrew out of that property?
I don't think William will move to Belvedere. I mean, I think, again, the optics don't look very good. I mean, he's already got Anne Mahal and he's got Kensington Palace. And for someone who's championing the need to address homelessness, it's not going to look very good. I think the rumor is that the Royal Lodge has been parked for Camilla at some stage. But the fact that Andrew is absolutely right. He's got a lease. As long as he keeps things repaired, he can stay there as long as he wants. He's been there 20 years. I think he wants to bring allow his daughters to possibly inherit it. And I never really understood why there was this siege, because it painted him as the victim and as Charles as rather vindictive. So though the optics don't look good, Royal Lodge is about the last bit of status that Andrew still has, and status is everything to Andrew. So it's not a fight worth having, in my view. It would, I mean, only raise the issue when it would be far easier just to sort of hope that people forgot that he was there and concentrate on other things.
No, but
I think
that's
it's distraction.
fascinating, though, what you say, because of course, and this is obviously very sensitive, but of course, given Charles's current health predicament and the fact that, according to Lady Colin Campbell, his cancer is incurable, although of course he hopes to live for many more years, there would be plans for Camilla and where she would end up under King William, and it would make sense given that was the home of the Queen Mother when she was a widow. So that is very, very interesting to me. Andrew, what is the status of Sarah Ferguson's current relationship, Fergie's current relationship with Prince Andrew? Because it has always been so odd, the fact that this divorced couple who had brought shame on the royal family in so many ways, and gosh, when you look into your book and really dig down into Andrew's sexual exploits, which you have detailed incredibly, you sort of wonder, why is Fergie still so close to him? Like, is it a commercial thing, or is there genuine love between the two of them? And are they in a relationship?
No, there's no relationship there, except, you know, they're a co-parent. They call themselves co-parents, co-grandparents. And I think there's been a relationship there for a long time. I mean, they kind of play with the media because, of course, it's very good for their poll ratings. Every time that they're going to get together, they go up. But, you know, the whole rationale of her relationship with Andrew is, you know, she's fond of him. He feels guilty, perhaps, for the way he treated her. They're sort of contra against the world. But, you know, she knows that her calling card is being a member of the royal family. And so she hangs on as a limpet there, really, because she wouldn't be able to have a Duchess line and to do all the things that she does if she had moved to Bexley Heath 30 years ago. And I know that Philip and Elizabeth were very keen that she should be, you know, kept separate from their son, that he was able to establish new relationships, which he's never really been able to do since, and for everyone to move on. And she was seen as a bit of a liability. But we've also got to remember that, I mean, one of the themes of the book is the constant hinting, either by her or John Bryan or someone else, that, you know, there are secrets, even her own mother, that could be revealed about the royal family, and better to embrace us and keep us close than to kick us out.
So there's that underlying tone of threat. Is that what you're saying? Sort of in the way that Meghan has done it too, hasn't she? Like, do you remember when she told The Cut, I discovered my diaries the other day from my time in the royal family?
Shorthand. There's a shorthand. I mean, there was the rumours about a year ago that Andrew was going to write a book, you know, to send out the, you know, scare signals. So, I mean, I have, you know, they're very fond of each other. They trust each other. They talk on the phone the whole time. And I think there have been moments over the last 30 years when, you know, they have thought about it. I mean, she says she wouldn't want to go back into royal life again. She clearly wouldn't have the independence to make money she has now. And he, I think, you know, initially having felt very sad about the end of the marriage and guilty about it, having been forced to divorce, in effect, by the Queen because of the things that were going on in public.
Sucky toes.
Well, the toe sucking, exactly. Yeah, or licking, as we were meant to say. But I think also, you know, they like it, both of them. They have this, you know, they can present us, they have two sides to them. They can be the happy family, very domestic, and they can both go and do their own thing. I mean, I know, for example, that Andrew is, you know, having an affair at the moment with the wife of a friend of his. So, you know,
what?
Andy strikes again.
Because I was going to ask you that, Andrew. I was actually going to ask, does he have current relationships? Like, because I know in your book, I mean, gosh, as I say, the sexual exploits are crazy. I think you talk about when he was in Bangkok, what was it, 40? Did you say 40?
4 days. It makes you proud to be British.
40. So just to clarify, you're saying 40 women came in and out of his hotel in Bangkok.
Yeah, absolutely. And then he swapped them with an Arab prince. They swapped their best girls.
Wow. But what is missing and what surprises me is that here he is in this post-Epstein life where he's doing very little. why has he not tried to find real love and fulfillment again? Or maybe
Well, I
he
think he's a bit
has
like-
with this affair. I don't know.
No, I think he's rather like Epstein. There's this need for constant gratification. I mean, they're never satisfied. I mean, Epstein, I think had to have 3 orgasms a day, constant stream of women brought to him. And it's a little bit the same with Andrew, that, he hasn't sustained any long-term relationships. I mean, there's one girlfriend I talked to who claimed that she lived at Royal Lodge for 5 years with no one knowing. And seems to be in one of the more long-term relationships. But people come and go, and it's a sort of, it's just the way he is. I mean, he's had women throw themselves at him all his life, and I think he enjoys that. He doesn't really want to settle down with one when they're all
Well,
the other
clearly
sweeties on
not,
the
does he, Tash?
shop.
Because if you did want to settle down and have a serious new relationship, you wouldn't have your ex-wife in the house.
No, I mean, it would seem that Andrew and Fergie were well suited. They both liked power, status. They liked having everything thrown at them. And that's something that's clearly obvious hasn't changed despite their relationship changing over the years. Fergie, I believe, sticks close to Andrew because of that, because of the status that she has. And as Andrew just pointed out, every time that they do this show of they're together, perhaps they'll remarry, Fergie's been allowed back in, they go up in the points, and people start talking about them again. And it's used as a bit of positive PR. But obviously, the more stories that come out, especially with this book coming out, you realize, well, I've certainly realized why Fergie has perhaps been a bit more sympathetic towards Meghan and Harry, because all of the shocking behavior that they've done, I think Fergie and Andrew got the T-shirts first.
Well, yes, and Andrew, this was another really interesting aspect of your book. One of the reasons, but I'll let you explain it, but effectively, one of the reasons Buckingham Palace was so worried about the Meghan Markle bullying allegations was that it could bounce back on them because of Andrew's behaviour over the years. Is that fair to say?
Well, I mean, who knows what the reasoning was? I mean, I think, they were nervous about, I think they wanted to remain above the fray and remain dignified. But I think the point is that if something was done to deal with Meghan, there would be dozens of people who would come forward and say, well, why don't you deal with Andrew? I mean, there have been dozens of reports about Andrew's appalling behavior to members of staff. He treats them as sort of a lower race. And so they would be opening a can of worms if they were to deal with one and not address the other.
And do you feel
So
those
far easy
reports...
to suppress one.
Sorry, Andrew, you finish.
So far easy to suppress it.
And do you feel that those reports of Andrew being a bully are fair and accurate? In your book, you reveal one particular encounter he had with a courtier who didn't properly use the Queen Mother's title, and he sort of erupted.
Yeah, absolutely. The episode with David Anderson, Hillsborough, but there are countless examples. I mean, I didn't put everything in because clearly it would have been too repetitive and too long. But there's an episode I got from a friend of mine who'd been at Gordonstoun with him and tells the story of the Duke of Edinburgh camping at Balmoral. She's a girl of 14, a bit younger than Andrew, and him coming, wandering down and ripping the fly sheet off the tent and throwing it in the stream. And there are lots of attempts to humiliate people because he knows they can't answer back. But no, he was always known as a bully. Colin Burgess, who was the equerry to the Queen Mother, has a lot of stories about how he treated the staff, and particularly Colin Burgess, who was a distinguished sort of courtier. And the difference between him and all the other members of the royal family who treated their staff extremely well and treated them as friends as opposed to servants. But, we've got to remember that Andrew does believe in the divine right of kings, and everyone else is a lesser mortal.
And of course, this bombshell book entitled is out now, a bestseller. But if you want first access to our royal exclusives every single weekday, all you need to do is sign up to our Substack, www.outspoken.live. That gives you first access to the royal uncancelled after show every single weekday first, without any advertising whatsoever. And you can watch it either live or on demand. That's www.outspoken.live. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.